for always staying tuned. This is Cactv. I am Modot Dominic, and this is the newspaper review on Morning Dew. Okay, so we'll start straight away.
My name is Ola Oladipo. Good morning, viewers at home.
Good morning. All right, quickly we'll go on a break, and when we come back, we'll take a look at the news making headlines, and then we'll take our quote for the day. Stay tuned. Yes, welcome back from that short break. This is your newspaper review on Morning Dew, and first we'll take a look at the quotes that we have to inspire us for the day. And our quote for the day says is taken from the book of Psalm 34, Psalm 34, verse 14, and it says, "Turn away from evil and do good. Work hard at living in peace with others." I'll take it again. Psalm 34 verse 14. It says, "Turn away from evil and do good. Work hard at living in peace with one another." In clear terms, I'm sure we all understand what that word means, because it's clear enough for everyone to understand. Turn away from evil and do good. Today, the Bible is telling us, the Lord is telling us today, turn away from evil, turn away from doing bad things to your neighbor, and encourage yourself in doing good, in living in peace with one another. It is essential that we live in harmony, we live in unison with one another, to make sure that we proclaim the name of Christ. You can't say you are a bearer of Christ and then you are found doing evil, and you are also not living in peace with one another. So it is very, very essential that we live in peace with one another, and also abstain from doing evil. Do good all the time. Be found doing good all the time. This is what will please the Lord our Father, and I hope that blesses us today. Okay, so right away we'll take a look at the news making headlines around the globe. So in no particular order, we're used to starting with the Punch newspaper. So today, sorry to bust your bubble, today we are starting with the Sun newspaper. So our first story from the Sun says, Ijaw youth backed Antita security on pipeline protection contract. Ijaw Youth Network has appealed to Niger Delta stakeholders to throw their weight behind Tantita Security Service in the crucial task of reducing the mind-boggling theft of the Nigerians' crude oil resources. In further story, we also have that the network, in a statement is issued in Abuja, also urged all sons and daughters of the oil-rich region who indicated interest in the execution of the pipeline protection contract to show the requisite spirit of sportsmanship by providing necessary support to Tantita. So going further, we also have that they further argued that the award of a critical contract for the protection of pipeline, which is central to the nation's economy, cannot be subject to sentiment. According to the due, Tantita, which convincingly executed the first phase of the security contract, was able to engage 17,500 youth in the Niger Delta in the fight against oil thieves. Okay, so that's the first story that we have from the Sun newspaper, and this story, particularly for me, is quite intriguing because as at yesterday we read a story, one of the news making headlines, how they were urged to share this Tantita security, rather than majorly taking it away from them. But here we're having the Ijaw youth coming out to say, yes, we need all the support, all the joy youths, all the sons who should come out and protect this oil theft. And we have about 17,500 youths coming out from the Niger Delta. So, Engineer Ola, what's your take on this?
Well, it's a very, to me, it's a very good thing because they know the terrain very well. It's their neighborhood. They know every nooks and corners of the area, and then also they know where they are selling our oil. This oil is the mainstay of Nigerian economy, and without the oil, there is no resources at all for Nigeria. So, if the youth are come out now and say, "Oh, we have to make sure we do what we can to protect these natural resources," it's a very good thing. But my stake is that the federal government should deal with them very well. Their remunerations, their benefits must be given to them accordingly. Because this oil is found at their backyard, and they are the people protecting the oil again. So if they are honest, I think everything will be fantastic for Nigeria. Be able to make money. So because they cannot close their eyes, and somebody from other region will be coming to their backyard, steal the oil, and they'll be looking at you. It's a very good step. And I think if they are treated very well, they'll be able to perform excellently. For many years, this is where we have major problems: oil leakage, people stealing the oil. So they know where all these problems lie, and they know how to solve the problem. So if you deal with them very well, carefully, excellently, I think they will perform. It's a very good thing. I support it. Because you see, before now, people in high places from the other states of the country, they will go to the south and then be doing bunkering and stealing the oil, and the government will just be putting away their face without saying anything. They wouldn't want them to know that, oh, they really know what is happening. But now I know this youth will not accept such a thing.
Let down their guard.
They will not let down their guard at all. There was a time they had fight with the Nigerian Navy, because they, this thing is coming from your own backyard, and it's for the nation. So you wouldn't want anybody to come from any other state, be you anybody, to misuse it. That is just the main agenda, and I support it.
And so far they've been doing well in securing the pipeline. So, and I think we have to also give them kudos for having doing justice to that, because if we have people coming out to say, okay, yes, all that we have, if we're going to protect what we have and protect it rightly from the thieves, I'm sure we'll definitely make headway as far as the country is concerned. Okay, so taking a look at the second story that we have, this says Kalu Northern Group expert justice fairness at appeal court. The Northeast Elders and Youth People's Forum has expressed confidence that former governor of Abia State, Senator Orji Uzo Kalu, would get justice at the Court of Appeal despite alleged plots of clique to bring him down. Chairman of the group, Alhaji Salisu Magaji, spoke at a press conference in Bauchi yesterday against the backdrop of allegations made by Senator Elisha Abo that the Senate President Godwill Akpabio was behind the ruling of the appeal court which terminated his tenure in the Senate. Abo also alleged that the 5 other senators had been penciled down for familiar removal by the court. Senator Orji, APC Abia North, is the next target of the planned coup against 5 senators from the Senate by its leadership. The scene in court of the other 4 other senators is that they oppose the emergence of the leadership of the 10th Senate in June, he said. Magaji said Nigerians were watching and expected nothing but justice and fairness from the appeal court. And that's how much we can take from the story. I really wish that this is not, like we said yesterday, because we dealt with something like this yesterday. So if the man is coming out to say that Uzokali is coming out to say that okay, this is what it is. We're expecting that the court make justice and do the needful. Why is this coming up again today?
Well, if I look at it from my own perspective, that is a very big lesson for Nigerians to learn from this tussle among the senators. You know, when you are accusing your co-senator that it is because I did not support your ambition, so that is why it's now working against my own ambition. I see this as, you know, immaturity. We're not talking about age now. We are talking about matured mind. That when these senators now they belong to the same party, now there's a quarrel between them because of selfish interest. You know, are they really going there to represent Nigeria? You know, if you are going there to represent Nigeria, what will lead to fight amongst you should be what is the what should be Nigerian progress. We have lots of problems in our hands, Nigeria. For you, okay, it's like I used to say, it's leadership by example. When the leaders are fighting over trivial things, what do you expect the youth to do? When they are now saying it's because we did not support his ambition to become the Senate president, that is why he's against us. That's why he's telling the court, you know, it's irrelevant.
Very irrelevant.
If truly you are qualified, the court will decide, because that is the body in charge of justice. If you did not win the election, the court will decide. So all these are by talk. I think the court will do the needful.
And I also feel that they also don't want to, you know, accept being punished for not doing the right thing, because when you allow your ego to play, then we'll always have issues like this, and then we're having to talk about, okay, the essence of democracy is basically on the ability of vote. Now we're talking about vote. Meanwhile, a lot of the things that are happening are not based on vote if we really want to follow it democratically. So moving away from that, we'll look at the next story that we have from Vanguard newspaper, and this says fresh trouble in Senate as Akpabio Ndom clash. So we'll go on a quick break, and when we come back, we'll look at that story in full. Let's go on break. Yes, it's still the newspaper review on Cactv. So we're taking a look at the news making headlines from Vanguard newspaper, and this says fresh trouble in Senate as Akpabio Ndom clash. The brewing crisis in the Senate came to a head yesterday as the chief whip, Senator Ali Ndom, stormed out during plenary to protest the refusal of the Senate President Godwill Akpabio to address alleged procedural errors. The president, to prevent the situation from degenerating, Akpabio requests that his colleague meet behind closed doors to further discuss how to begin. Trouble started minutes after the commencement of the day's session when Senator Ali Ndom, APC Borno South, raised a point of order to draw the Senate president's attention to alleged procedural errors committed by him, which were yet to be corrected. Specifically, we also made reference to a motion on the need for reopening of the Niger Delta border, which was moved by Senator Sumaila Kawu, the NNPP Kano South, which Okpabio allowed to be debated without first having the official title of the motion read as the normal procedure. We also have that he said in the further story that this is the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, guided by law, rule, and procedures. If in the course of proceeding at any session errors are observed, they must be corrected before forging ahead with such proceedings. Mr. President, there are some things we do in this chamber that are against the rules. Sir, nobody is too big to learn. Akpabio had hardly allowed Ndum to end his speech when he ruled him out of order, saying since he had ruled on issues raised, it could not be revisited. So this is more like saying a tug of war in the midst of our elders.
No, you see, let's be realistic. You do not criticize publicly. When you do that, you are inviting,
especially your elder,
your
one who is older than you in position.
In the Senate, all of them were elected, and after the election, one of them was appointed to be the Senate president. That really means that under the law, all of them are Nigerian senators. Okay. If one person stood up and notified others that, oh, there's an error, we have to address this error to move forward. If you are in a meeting and there's a matter to be resolved, before we proceed, we have to resolve the matter. There's no reason for us, there's no need for us to proceed without resolving the matter, because we cannot come back tomorrow to the same matter again. There must be progress. So what this man is saying here is for the house, that we have procedures in the house, that we have to follow the procedures. Why are we not doing the right thing at the right time? Why are we moving forward without solving this problem? Are we coming back to this problem, or this is the way we'll be running the Senate? So now instead of you now to allow him, though sometimes you don't criticize. Normally you don't criticize publicly, but once it has happened, now you have to use the leadership skill, not to shun him down. He's a human being. He will vote, and this thing, we can only know the beginning of fire. That is when it is smoking. There will be a smoke, then the fire will burst. Then you cannot stop it. That is why it is good for you not to leave a matter untouched before you proceed. So the best thing for them to call all the elders of the party and resolve this issue, because this is just the beginning. I don't think they have spent about 5 or 6 months in the Senate, and something like this is happening among them. They have to sit down and really understand, because Nigeria will have lots of problems at our hand. And we are talking about Nigerian border. Everybody knows about the problem we have with Niger. To open the border at this particular moment is uncalled for right now. That shouldn't be the issue now, because there's a military rule in Niger, and there's lots of unrest in Niger. We have lots of terrorists in Niger that bombarded the government. Now you want to open the border. You have to be careful in what we do and what we say. The Senate president will be saying, no, this is not the right time for us to talk about opening this border. He may be right, but you have to do it with diligence. Do it diligently.
With wisdom.
And with wisdom. Because some people are not lettered. I'm sorry to say this, but they are in the Senate. They will always go there, they will sleep, and they will say, I concur, I'll take money. Without listening to anybody. They can buy a car worth of 500 million naira. They don't give a damn. That others are not enjoying the country. They don't give a damn. But in a thing like this, if you know this man, your question is wrong, your answer will be wrong. But you have to do it
right
politely, in the right way, in the right manner, because he will not see what is bad in what he's saying. Depends on your level of education, not even education, level of reasoning. Some people are very shallow in the brain. Well, okay, for example, in the classroom, we have some students that the moment you put them through on the topic, they understand you. When I was teaching, what I do is that some students in the class, when they score 40%, I will proceed. I know some students, if they don't score up to 40%, I don't proceed.
Because they have to meet up.
Because those people ahead of them have to wait. It may take me 3 times before they score 40%. So at the end of the term, even in the school, they say, ṣé bàbá engineer wo ni? The parents come to me and say, what is the magic? It is not magic. You have to look at the dullest child in the class. When he scores 40%, that means everybody in the class have understood what you are talking, the subject, then you proceed. So this is the work that the Senate president is supposed to do. If you are in the Senate and emotion is being raised, what you need to do is to make sure that everybody is heard, and then there will be enlightenment before conclusion is reached. So this is too early for them in the Senate to be doing something like this. Publicly, they are disclosing themselves. Telling their children and grandchildren that is this the way to run the country?
They are not organized.
Yeah, they are not organized. That is the word.
Okay, so we're still looking at the story making headlines from Vanguard newspaper, and the next story says police uncover arms factory in Lagos. The police in Lagos have uncovered a factory in Idata community, Ibejuleki area of Lagos, where arms are fabricated. As arrested were 2 blacksmiths, Musiliu Benga, who is 21 years, and Owolabi Aziz, who is 22 years. Wow, this is alarming to have that. We have young ones doing this.
Nigerian youth.
Honestly, 21, 22.
No, Nigerian youth.
They were paraded alongside 30 other suspects for various crimes ranging from cultism, stealing, and illegal possession of firearms. They were alleged to be selling the fabricated arms to criminals, parading the suspects at the conference hall of the Lagos State Police Command, Ikeja, Lagos. The command spokesman, Benjamin also said the arrests were made in 1 month. Okay, the arrest was made in 1 month. He further explained how the factory where firearms were fabricated was uncovered. He said, based on the actionable intelligence of the blacksmith who fabricated firearms for onward sale to criminals around Idata village in Ibejuleki, operatives of the command busted to the factory and arrest 2 suspects. 3 single barrel locally made pistols and double barrel locally made gun, and single barrel locally made guns, 2 single barrel locally made long guns, 10 expanded cartridged and 12 long pipes, 2 drilled machines. Wow, this is serious. 1 gas cylinder and 1 vehicle and other fabricated tools were among the items recovered from the factory. Okay, so further story also shows that he said Ganiu Yusuf, aka Skibo, aged 23, was arrested in possession of 2 9mm ammunitions. Further investigation led to the arrest of Ikologbon Toby, aka Iku, aged 23. Imagine that, aka Iku, or isn't that what it is? Aka Iku, aged 23. So now we have age 21, age 22, and also age 23. We also have Aziz, age 27, and so many others. We also have Jami, who is aka called J-Boy, age 26, and so many others in the different areas of the state, in possession of 2 locally made single barrel guns and 1 double barrel shotgun, 3 live cartridged, 1 danger, and different charms. This is not right at all. The fact that we have young ones who are supposed to be using their wisdom, I can imagine the knowledge this guy has, this guys, have the intellect alone to be able to put this together. You can actually use this for something good and make the country a better place. For them to have gone, how did they get to this point is my question. How did
Well,
we have, these young ones at this young age get to this point of having to do this?
First and foremost, the name is not the name is Ikuologbo Tobi. Ikuologbo, and this name belongs to the Idache tribe.
Okay.
Ikuologbo. That's why they call him Iku. But you see, when the society of the world is changing rapidly, and the youths of nowadays, majority of them, when you see Nigerian youths are lazy, they fly up, they say it's insultive, it's this, is that. But
because it's not applicable to everyone.
but you see all over the world, the youth, they engage themselves in a new modern thing. In western part of the world, you see most of them engage themselves in dancing, musical festival, and all that. Even in Israel, there was this desert festival. That's desert before Hamas people came and shot at them. So you see, Nigerian youth, the government has to stand up and do more than what the government is doing now. If you remember one of our discussions here, I said Fashola started a vocational school in Lagos State. How many youth are attending the schools? Nowadays, you see Nigerian graduates, especially female, going back to become sewing mistress in the name of fashion design because of the curriculum. And most of these students, when they are young, what they have this energy to explore new fields, to explore new areas. But when there are no areas to explore, this is what really happens. In America and Europe, we have something similar to this. But what the government there is doing is that government arrests the situation by providing opportunities for them to make better use of their brains. If this youth can be able to fabricate things like this, they can do better if they are tutored to the right path. They will do something better than this. But now they are wasting their life, they are destroying their lives, they are killing themselves because they don't have anything to do. The educational system of this country, there must be more emphasis on the educational system. It has to be compulsory and free, because the youth are wasting away. And when the youth of the country are wasting away, what do you think will happen to the country? Today we are talking about the youth in the job that they are not they are supervising the pipelines to prevent people from damaging the pipes, to prevent the people from taking away Nigerian oil. These people are engaged in manufacturing ammunition and arms, supplying bandits to terrorize, to take money from people. Now, before now, we will say Nigerian police are not doing anything. But now you can now see that most of these youth, there are too many of them. They involve in courtesan. They maim themselves, they kill themselves, they do all sorts of bad things. So we have to go back again to the educational system to be able to engage our youth. All of us cannot go to the universities, but there must be vocational schools.
Okay, so in light of what you just said, so we have pupils or students in schools who they are still in schools that are doing well, that are teaching them well, but yet you still find them join cultists or cultism, as the case may be. So does this have anything to do with upbringing or an individual thing?
You see, in those days, it has to do with upbringing, because in those days, if you are at a secondary school, your mother, your father will not buy special center for you. Even if you fail in a class, your father will go to the teacher and say, I want him to repeat the class.
Exactly.
But today, what is what is the rave of the moment?
They withdraw the child.
They
In
withdraw
this
the
case.
child and say you can't talk to my
Don't
child.
worry.
That I saw a parent building a teacher on the road, because in those days when you go to school with your hairdo, there must be a specific instruction that this is how you
This hairstyle you should.
this is hairstyle you must bring to the school. But nowadays they do whatever they like, and when you teach and when you beat them, the parents will come, slap you,
Fight the
throw you away. They'll tell the school authority to what do you expect to happen. Major schools in Lagos now, not even Lagos, Nigeria now, they have special centers where you have to pass your WAEC, and when the parents force you to pass your WAEC without being a very good student, what happens to you? You will not be able to defend the certificate you are brandishing as your certificate. You cannot defend it, and then what happens to you? You don't want to go to school again, because you are not ready to learn. What if there are vocational schools, bricklaying, carpentry, electrical jobs? You'll be able to engage yourself, and you'll be earning good money. But when they are not like this, what happens? Because every day we are building criminals.
Like just like what you just said, it reminds me of was it last month when they wrote one of the leaving school exam. So a child from a close relative, the girl came back from school and she did very well when the results came out, and we're like, how, wow, so that means you've really been reading so fine, your result is coming out well. So one of the days, as their dad usually do, he will sit them down, ask them questions, because they have like two of them in the same class. So ask them questions. So you came out well. So how answer this question from their past questions of what they've done. And then this child was not able to answer one of the questions. And I'm like, this question is part of what your result shows that you got right. So how come you are having this result and then you can't even answer the question? And that was where the secret leaked, that while they were doing the exam, the teacher passed answers to them, that they passed answers to them. Like, how? And this is not government school, this is private school. Just because you want the child to meet up with the standard, you don't want them saying that, because as the school is also not helping. We have to really be factual about this, because if a child is not doing well, let the parents know that this child is not doing well. But in schools nowadays, they want them to say, which school did she finish from? She finished from so school. Wow, their grade is always so good, because you want to make a name for yourself. And we need to also come back to the structure of the educational boards that we have. I think all of this, we need to really pay attention to it, because we are not helping. That's why we keep having cases like this, and we have pupils out, students out there who are not also ready to go to school. In cases like that, what do? When we have students, you have children who are saying, I don't want to go to school. Work, they don't want to work. So what exactly could we call that?
Okay, let me give an example to answer that. There was a day I go out to buy some food items. So this vendor was selling fish too, and I saw this boy. He came with the mother. The mother was pregnant, and then the boy was rejecting the fishes. And I scolded by saying, "Look, my friend, remove your hands. Somebody is going to buy this fish. Mm-hmm. Take it home and cook it and eat. Why are you rejecting the fish?" The mother said, "Why are you shouting on my child?" I said, "So you are the mother, and somebody else is coming to buy the fish from this vendor, and look at what your son is doing." So the husband came. He said, I told the husband, I said, "Look, man, what do you want to say? Charity begins at home, must not end at home."
Something you're supposed to caution the child at the spot, so the child knows that what he's doing is wrong.
Mostly it's from the parents. They pamper the children, they do whatever they like. I don't want my child to really retake the class. I don't want him to repeat the class.
I don't know. No, the statement they use now is, I don't want my child to experience what I went through. I'm like, yes. What did you go through? Those things you went through made you who you are today, whether good or bad. So you're supposed to correct or rewrite the story.
So when they say charity begins at home, they're referring to parents. Most of the work is with the parents. If you know your child is not brilliant, examination is not the true test of ability.
Exactly.
That does not say because you don't know mathematics. Mm-hmm. You don't know, that means you don't know any other subject. It's a lie. You can excel in other fields. You may not be able to excel in mathematics. Do not say because your child is not good in mathematics, that he is a stupor, that he cannot learn anything.
No child.
Yeah, a child may be slow in learning, but at the end of the day, he will learn, he will understand it. And so, some students are fast in learning, some are very slow in learning.
And in most cases, you find out that some of those students are actually good in a particular subject.
Enough that my child is going to the best school in Lagos. It's not enough that my child, I'm spending lots of money on the child. Why don't you monitor the child's education? Is he really interested in reading or not? Okay, if you go to Ghana, I keep on making an example with Ghana and other countries. Now today in Nigeria, we have people coming from Cotonou, they are Thailands. What about Nigerians? We have them, it's not that they are not good. It's not that they cannot do the job, but they are not dedicated. Most of them, they want fast and quick money. And that is what is happening. So the federal government, maybe we have to increase the strength of Nigerian police to be able to do more. More of this. Yes, more of this, because if you have more police for monitoring, we'll have lesser crimes in the country.
All right, thank you so much for shedding more light to that story. Okay, so next we have don't sell Nigerians' future with borrowing. Kako cautions federal government. The Center for Anti-Corruption and Open Leadership, Kako, has cautioned the President Bola Tinubu's administration over the decision to secure fresh loan of $1.5 billion from the World Bank. Kako also made this known in a statement issued and signed by its Director of Administration and Program, Tola Oresanwo, on Tuesday.
Oresanwo
on Tuesday, okay? It stated this on behalf of the organization's chairman, Mr. Debo Adeniran, that it was reported by some section of the media recently that the federal government was engaging the World Bank on a fresh $1.5 billion loan. To authenticate the report, the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, on Monday, after the Second Federal Executive Council meeting presided over the President Bola Tinubu at the Presidential Villa, Abuja, disclosed to newsmen that the federal government have approved an application for $1.5 billion in financing from the World Bank, even as the government approved another $80 million financing from the African Development Bank. This is not a good news at all. According to the minister, the funding will be approved through the International Development Association, known for its virtual interest-free loan. The organization lambasted FG for engaging in more borrowings when it has refused to cut the cost of governance, including the proposed purchase of cars for lawmakers. It said this is coming at the time Nigerians are grappling with hardship resulting from the food price inflation, fuel subsidy removal, amongst others. So yesterday we also spoke about this, that when you said yesterday that we are not paying attention to the things that we are supposed to do, and that is why we keep having loans to even see that this has already been approved is so uncalled for. And what Kako are saying, I'm actually in support of what they are saying so far. So, Engineer Ola.
Yesterday in the paper we read that about 63% of the annual budget
is going in for servicing and
servicing of our debt
and personal
and personal salaries, pensioners and all the rest. What do you expect when you are spending about 65% of your annual budget on non-profit ventures, and you are spending only about maybe 45%? Is it 35% on other sector, which includes defense, which includes education, which includes
security,
agriculture, security, and which includes transportation. So why are you not going to borrow money? There was a time when this Kofi was president of Ghana. He said, I spent 90% of the income on salaries. This is what is happening in Nigeria now. Now the government wants to go and borrow money. Yes, because we till now, I am just scared that we don't identify that we have problem in this country. We don't know how to manage at all. We have resources. There is no knowledge. What is knowledge? Education. I keep on talking about education. I do not see in the budget how much the government is spending on education. Now they want to borrow 1.5 million. I mean, they want to borrow $1 billion. No, billion now to run the country.
It's
now, and we are now saying the foreign exchange is on the high side. Why would it not be on the high side? If you are always borrowing and borrow, children will say borrow, beggy. We are always going out there to beg and to borrow money. And when you are borrowing money from somebody from the West will give you a stringent condition: devalue your currency. When you devalue your currency, before now we are not selling crude oil, we are doing barter arrangement. It has now come into the light. Awolowo once said the only way for this country to survive is to close all our borders and become be Nigeria, buy Nigeria. India did it. Many countries of the world have done that. Look at the economy in Brazil, Argentina. Same with Nigeria. How do you think Nigeria will survive when we continue on this policy? We are going to borrow money again. To do what? To buy cars.
And another being with this borrowing is to invest in building our economy.
From the budget, we are not building any economy. For the budget, we are not building any economy. If we are giving money to the senators to buy cars, how are you building the economy? When local manufacturers in Nigeria are crying that they are not buying cars from them, you are not recycling the money in the country. You are taking the money out of the country. You borrow money from England,
and then you are still giving it back.
And you are taking the money back again to England free, and keep on paying interest rate. So I know how are you going to correct this? No, something is really wrong. Even the new administration is now saying we want to borrow money. What is happening to our natural resources? We are not developing them. Agriculture is gone, is dead in the country.
We are really not paying.
If Nigeria is now importing palm oil into the country, then what are we saying? We are importing palm oil into the country. What are we saying?
All right, so looking at further stories, we also have here, now we are heading to the Punch newspaper, yes, which was supposed to be our first, which is, the usual way of doing our news headlines. So now we're looking at the Punch newspaper, and the first story that we have from the Punch says, 35,000 naira wage award, Labour gives government ultimatum, 61 million Nigerians to get 1 trillion naira. Organized Labour has issued a 2-week deadline to governors to commence negotiation on the 35,000 naira wage award for workers in their state, in line with the terms of the Memorandum of Understanding signed by the federal government, the Nigerian Labour Congress, and the Trade Union Congress. It also stated that the state chambers, the state chapters of the NLC and TUC, which handed down the ultimatum on Tuesday, said they had written to the governors to fast track the necessary protocols and implement the award meant to assuage the subsidy removal pains. Further story also tells that the union pointed out that the deadline for payment of the wage award would expire in the next 2 weeks, and they asked the governor to begin the implementation process immediately. Each household would receive 25,000 naira for 3 months, with 15 million households getting 25,000 naira each for 3 months. About 1.13 trillion will be spent on the program. So this is the first story that we have from the Punch, and looking that the Labour are at it again in less than how many weeks that they had the roundtable discussion with the governors. So, Engineer Ola, what's your take on this?
The Labour is saying, why did the government remove subsidy? And the government should cushion the effect of subsidy removal. That demand is, you have to increase the salary of workers. You have to dole out palliatives to people because the economy is bad. Government has to go back again to the bank to borrow money. Borrow money to give out palliatives. Government will now say we have been able to save 1 trillion or 2 trillion or 15 trillion naira from the palliatives. Again, the government is not going out to borrow money, and they will devalue our local currency, and the hardship will continue. I don't understand what is really going on. Labour is putting so much pressure on the government. We need palliatives. Why did you remove the subsidy? Government is saying subsidy is a scam. We have to remove the subsidy. Bear with us. We'll do like some money to cushion the effect of this palliative removal. Government is going back again. It's like a circle. Government is going back again to the bank and to borrow money, loans, to pay salary, to service the debt, and to give out palliatives. So no, I'm asking you, can you explain to me what is really going on there? Yeah, from what we are reading from the newspaper, what is going on? Do you understand what is really happening? I don't understand what is. They're
just going back in circles.
I don't understand what is really going on.
You're blaming the government. We're also blaming the government for borrowing loans, and then we are still telling the government to still have to go and borrow loans to make sure that they cushion the effect of palliative. It still doesn't make any sense.
If government wants to work on foreign exchange, we don't need to borrow. Yes, if you want to work on foreign exchange, you don't need to borrow money. You don't need to borrow money to eat. You don't borrow money to eat. You borrow money to invest. And from the gain of the investment, you eat. You can pay back the loan and relax. But when you borrow money to eat, how will you pay the money back?
And that's the problem we're facing right
now. The crude oil price per barrel has risen in the world. We are not making profit. When are we going to make profit? Look at what they are saying, that they want to give out 61 million Nigerians to get 1 trillion naira. And the amount of money they want to borrow from the World Bank now is not equivalent to what they want to spend. So Nigeria is going out again to borrow money. You have removed the subsidy because you said we removed the subsidy because of the expenses. We are spending lots of money on subsidy. We want to reduce the subsidy. You are spending so much money on palliatives. And these palliatives you are spending money on, how are you going to return back the money that you are borrowing? That means the foreign exchange will keep on rising. Somebody was talking to me yesterday that they said they want to remove 3 zeros. I said they want to remove 2 zeros. So 1,000 now will become 10 naira. So the power of 1,000 will go back to the power of 10 naira. I said, look, Ghana removed 2 zeros. Omi eko, akamu water, na akamu. Ekoni. If you drink omi eko, na eko you drink. Ghana, look at Ghana currency situation now. Is it not the same, or not as worse as what it was before? Ghana removed 2 zeros. That is 1,000 Ghana cedi becomes 10 Ghana cedis. And what is the value of 10 Ghana cedis today? The same thing. The value of $1 in Nigeria today is 1,050 naira. That is $1. So when you are coming to Nigerian country, you have excess money. When you are going out, you have little amount of money. This is only advisable when you are exporting, so that when people come to buy your goods, they are very cheap. Your goods are very cheap. People who come to buy, like China now, they devalue their currency. The goods coming from China are very cheap. But when you take your goods to Ghana, to China, they become very expensive. So you just don't apply policy without understanding the economics of the market. What is the dynamics? We just say, okay, I have my PhD in economics, I'm the governor of Central Bank. What are you doing? We have what can give us money in the country. We are not utilizing it. Yes. Nigeria, let's say one of the, or the second or the first, the major exporter of oil in Africa. What do we have to show for it? So we borrow money, we go back and lavish the money in that country. So this 35,000 naira wage award labor is given to government, and what amount of is they want to go on strike. And I don't understand where the labor stands.
For me, I really feel like the government should just give them the chance to go on this strike and let them also feel what it is. But it's so sad that it's the masses that will be facing this, because it shows that that's what they actually want. Because with their threat of having to go on a strike, and then they are making demands and not also paying attention. I know that they have this need. Everybody wants, their income to also be evaluated because of the increment of things, the prices of things currently. But let's also pay attention to how does this also help the government as a whole. How does this also help the people? I know they are actually fighting for the rights of the masses, but then doing things the right way is very, very important. So on this note, I would like to say that we'll have to call it a day. It's been a fantastic time with you all out there. Yes, as much as we have so much stories we need to talk about, yes, we'll continue that tomorrow. You know how we do it. Always giving you the latest news that you need to know and the updates that you also need to know. So this is still your Cactv News, and this is the Morning Dew newspaper review. I remain your wonderful host, Mother Dominic.
And my name is Olatipo. Nigeria
By Nigeria. Have a blessed day.